So there's something going on in the United States already that many of us think, well, has been part of what's happened historically in the United States. The word is, and you may have heard it, I don't know, it's called October Surprise. An October Surprise is usually something that happens just before an election. The October surprise in the last election was when they found a case against Hillary Clinton on the part of James Comey, which many people say cost Hillary Clinton dearly. There was a famous October surprise with President George Bush, the son, not the father, where they found a DUI in his record that nobody had ever heard of, and he nonetheless still won the race. So the October surprises are part of American history. Joining us now to talk about this theme and the news that's coming out now that there may already be an October surprise in the works is my colleague Larry King, who hosts Politicking here on RT America. Boy, talk about a political story, this October surprise. Listen to this, Larry. We are now reporting that the CDC is telling states that they should prepare, without any, by the way, real full-throated or specific information, but they should prepare to have some kind of program in place to help with the distribution of vaccines sometime in, are you ready? November 1st.
All right. I would normally buy that as a good Trump October surprise with one hesitation. If the World Health Organization endorses that, Trump will not, because he hates the world. I'll tell you, I've lived through October surprises, some planned, some not. You know, for example, when they took the hostages in Iran, that wasn't an October surprise. Usually it's we have to generate it. Kissinger in North Vietnam saying, with a week before the Nixon election, we're on the road. Victory is at hand.
Right.
That's an October surprise. It took 3 years, but it was. But they were always planning. In fact, there was a movie about it once called Dogs of War. You know, Robert De Niro starred in it, in which the government deliberately plans an October surprise for him to get elected. You know, do you buy it? You buy October surprises?
Oh, of course. You just reminded me. You and I have a mutual friend, a guy I respect probably as much as any human being I've ever met, and that's former President Jimmy Carter. He and I were having a long discussion once in Miami, in my old stomping grounds, because he had asked me to help him with Habitat for Humanity, and my wife and I were there with Rosalind, his wife. And then we were building a house the next day and doing all kinds of stuff. And he told me, almost as if he was still kind of angry about it, that the Reagan campaign had undercut him in his negotiation. I'm sure he told you the same thing. Had undercut him in his negotiation to free the hostages, to wait until Mr. Reagan was elected so that he could free them. And he said that was the thing that may have cost him the election. Another very kind of similar politicking kind of maneuver, right?
If that's true, that's a blight on American history because, if true, that cost American lives.
Well, you know,
right? If you put off the ending of a war so you can benefit, you're costing America. If you lost one life, that costs.
You remember
October surprises are bad.
You and I used to sit up and watch Ted Koppel every night, Nightline, which is when it was developed, right? Doing this whole thing about the hostages in Iran, and they had taken our hostages, and we were going to get them free any moment now. And Carter says he negotiated their release, and then the Iranians called and said, no, we're going to delay it a few weeks or whatever, and waited for him to be out of office so Reagan could eventually get it. I guess a few months, actually, between elections. So that was his.
It's amazing that Jimmy Carter isn't held in a little higher regard. He's not regarded well as a president. The Jews don't like him. They think he's anti-Israel. They thought he was a weak president. But I'll tell you something about Jimmy Carter. Let's look the record of each American president. From a military standpoint, you'd have to go back to Eisenhower. Jimmy Carter commanded a nuclear sub. He commanded a nuclear sub. That's weak.
Yeah, but
that's weak.
But you know what killed him? You know what killed his presidency? 21% interest rates, my friend. That's not survivable.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
Once again, you're right. Once again, Rick Sanchez is right. Okay, you're right.
Economy wins presidencies. Larry King, you're the best. Love talking to you. Thanks, man.
You too, Rick.
Appreciate it.